wow, that's going to be a problem.
You know, it's just a
Yeah.
process.
May not even be worth joining a meeting for the semester. I know
Played all the way through school, but never ever sexual. Gone away from it for many years and then took her into school.
was you who formed my inward parts. You knit me together in my mother's womb. I praise you, for I am fearfully, wonderfully made. Wonderful are your works that I know very well. Please be seated. Friends, my name is Jim Tenford, and on behalf of Jamie's family, I welcome you to this celebration of Jamie's life, how he lived and the relationships he built along the way. This is also a celebration of what God is doing in our lives, bringing us together, celebrating the beauty of creation, diverse in all nature and within humanity. The reading we just heard is from Psalm 139, and it is a reminder that we are all, every single one of us, wonderfully made, each in our own way, but with a common holy heritage. Today we're going to hear stories of Jamie's life, and we'll offer each other care and comfort. After the service, everyone is invited to join in a time of fellowship and food, and to make sure that these gifts that God has given us through diversity, we are going to offer a diverse way of sharing hospitality. Right after the service, I'm going to lead the family out the back and around where the office is, and there's food being served in this room over here. And if you are able, please feel free to join us. But now, for those of you who have a harder time with hallways and doorways, to make things easier for you, we're going to set up some food right here in front. So you can just come forward and help yourself to make this easier. And one of the things that is going to make this most easy, most joyful of an occasion, is that beyond how we set up food, we're just going to take care of each other. We're going to look out for each other. If there is somebody that you see that needs a little bit of extra help, that is a blessed opportunity to lend a hand to a neighbor. This is what Jamie would want to do. This is what Jamie would want us to do. And so we are going to have a gathering today that would make Jamie proud. Please join me in prayer. Holy God of all the earth and all people, we gather to hear your wisdom and place our lives in your holy story. We celebrate the part Jamie played in your creation, and we give thanks that we have had the privilege to be a part of his life. Be with us as we celebrate, but also comfort us as we say goodbye. While we may have faith that Jamie is with you, sometimes maybe we'd rather him still be here with us today in a way that is more familiar. So be with us, strengthen us, and inspire us to move through this time knowing that we are all wonderfully made. Amen. Now, our opening hymn today is Morning Has Broken. I would invite you to stand if you choose and if you are able. Please join in singing. Please be seated. Today we are blessed to have a number of people that are going to be sharing a few stories about different aspects of Jamie's life, and we're going to start off today by inviting David and Wilma to come forward.
In case you don't know which is which, I'm Dave. That's Wilma. Daphne has asked me to talk about how our families, the Wessel family and the Ellis family, are integrated together and have been interacting for the past 90 years. Please forgive me if I leave out a few things. Once upon a time in the 1930s, there were two single women who loved to dance, very good friends, and one of them was named Jessie and one of them was named Mary. And not soon afterwards, Jessie married a fella named James Ellis. That's a name that should be familiar to you. Different James Ellis. His real name was James Marshall Ellis. Everybody called him Marsh. He started CJME, named it after himself. And fairly soon afterwards, Daphne was born, and then no, not Patty. Mary married Alan Wessel, and they started a marriage. Patty was born, and then 4 Wessels were born. And finally, Jamie was born. And all through this, the two couples were really close friends and did things with each other. I'll just give you a couple of examples. Well, one of them was pretty trivial, but it involved me, so I'll tell you about it. When I was about 13, my mom said, I want you to go and shovel the snow for this lovely old family. And I said, sure. It was on Leopold Crescent. The roofs are like this. So every bit of snow that fell on that roof landed smack in the middle of the driveway. So I got a good workout. These old folks were really nice old folks. They were Jesse's parents, so Jamie's grandparents. So that's how far back we go. And another time, my dad died quite early, in early 70s. My mom had not worked outside the home for 30 years. A week later, she had a job, courtesy of Jesse Ellis. And then we all split apart, went different ways. Daphne and Patty, of course, were in Vancouver area, and Wilma and I were in Africa and all over the place. And we didn't get together until 1988. There's a 25-year gap there. First thing we did when Wilma and I got back from Zimbabwe phoned Jesse Ellis. Will you sell us a house? She sold us a house. And it was exactly the same layout as her house, so she knew that we would like that house. And then later, Marsh started to fail. From time to time, we would go over, and his dementia was getting worse. And I can remember a couple of times, he still had all his graces. He was such a wonderful person. And we had wonderful conversation, the same conversation 6 times in the evening. And then sadly he died, and Jesse died shortly after. So we're back in Regina. I left out a couple of things, but it's 1988, and we finally get to spend some time with Jamie. So Wilma will tell you about that.
Thank you, Dave. I wrote mine out, so I couldn't get any longer. But I just love this, a life well lived, in the inside of your card. That brought the tears to my eyes. A life well lived is a precious gift of hope and strength and grace from someone who has made our world a brighter, better place. That was Jamie. Jamie and his mom, Jessie, had been members of Whitmore Park United Church long before I got there in the winter of 1988 on our return from Zimbabwe. I often helped him to his beloved coffee at his table after church and visited with him. He was 10 years my junior and surprised me with his intelligence and involvement in whatever he could get into. He sat on a committee of the board, and he wanted to join the choir, which we never did manage to do for him. He laughed heartily at our comic dessert theaters, held all through the 90s. He just loved them. Jamie enjoyed life, so everyone enjoyed him. He lived with his mom, corner of Orchard and Grant Road, and when she got sick, I was able to arrange for Whitmore Park women like Merle Webb, if anyone remembers that name from Whitmore Park, to come and keep her company for a while. Jamie was independent to the core, although he lived in some of the places Jesse had worked so hard to establish. Places for people like Jamie and Darren, his good friend, right? And so many friends he made there. Look at the friends he made. Look at them, fabulous. Rest in peace, my friend Jamie. Love you now and forever. Wilma.
I'd like to invite Christina Martins to come forward to share some memories.
It's telling me it's on. Oh, there we are. My name is Christina Martins-Funk, and I am Chief Executive Officer at Inclusion Saskatchewan and Community Living. These are 2 organizations where I got to know Jamie. He was a board member of both organizations many times over the last few decades. He also served as a self-advocate contractor and as a peer network founder. Jamie was passionate about making our world more inclusive and making sure people with intellectual disabilities were included in every community space, like today, good work, Jamie. He lived what he believed, showing the world that disabled people are not to be hidden away as so often happens. Jamie claimed space in leadership and in change-making spaces, ensuring his voice and other disabled voices were heard. He truly lived out the phrase, "Nothing about us without us," or as it's now known, "Nothing without us." Jamie didn't want pity from anyone. He was far too busy enjoying life and making change. He set a high bar for all of us to meet, and he matched it with unending faith that he had in us to reach that bar. He worked hard at decision-making tables like the board of directors at Inclusion Saskatchewan. He was often the first to make a motion so that we could get on to the discussion of the matter. And when that discussion happened, he would share stories from his life to help ensure decisions were made with that person-centered approach, focusing on who we are working with and who would be most impacted. During those discussions, he often spoke about his childhood and about the advocacy he did together with his mom. They were a team working so hard to make inclusive spaces in schools and in camps for everyone. One of the things we do at Inclusion Saskatchewan is make plain language resources that help intellectually disabled people make decisions and consider the choices they have in their lives. And Jamie helped with many of these. One of the most recent ones is called My Housing Wishes, and it's a tool that helps people decide what type of housing they would like and how to communicate their preferences to the people around them. Jamie is one of the authors of this book, and it is an example of one of the ways Jamie was dedicated to inclusion and how that will live on. You may have seen the slideshow that started before the service today, and in it are included some of the photos of Jamie attending some Inclusion Saskatchewan events where he built relationships with everyone in the room and made sure people were included. You also might catch him singing karaoke, being in committee meetings, and finding lots of ways to make change. One of the photos is of a series of memes that we created to help the wider public break down their stereotypes. And the meme has this caption: "When you ask someone else a question about me in front of me." And you can imagine the photo of Jamie's scowling, eye-rolling face that he made for that one. Jamie understood that assignment. Yeah, I love it too. What was really incredible was how Jamie invited people into this inclusion work. When Jamie was running to be on the board of directors, he worked just as hard at writing his speech as he did in nominating others to run for the board and helping them write their speeches. And this last June, Jamie was present at our 70th anniversary annual meeting. Pardon me. To see in person the results of this hard work. A whole new governance system and board structure was passed. And he came to Saskatoon for this conference and AGM even though he was really sick and passed away just a week later. It was an honor to be with him in that last week of his beautiful life. Jamie, it was a great pleasure to work with you and was pure joy to know you. We will miss you dearly, and we hope you know this. You have been a blessing to this world.
Thank you, Christina. Mayanne, is Mayanne here? Oh, there she is. And Mayanne is going to say a few words, but then I believe she's going to also introduce a song. Is that still correct? No, you weren't going to sing. These guys are going to sing. Oh, okay. Okay.
For those who don't know me, my name is Mayan, and I had an absolute privilege of being both a worker and a dear friend of Jamie at Cheshire Homes. Thank you for all being here today to celebrate a truly remarkable man. If you ever spent more than 5 minutes with Jamie, you knew two things immediately. He had an unstoppable drive to change the world, and he absolutely refused to take no for an answer. He was stubborn in the absolute best way possible. He used that stubbornness as a superpower. Jamie, such a fixture in our lives that it's safe to say everybody who knew Cheshire Homes knew Jamie. He was simply unforgettable. And he was as just well known out in the wider community. Every single weekend, without fail, you could find Jamie hanging out of the Sandland Mall. It was his ticket to freedom, his way of staying connected, and probably where he did some of his best networking. This year actually marked exactly 40 years that Jamie lived at Cheshire Homes, surrounded by the people he loved. He became a fearful, tireless advocate for people with disabilities because he was fighting for his friends, his roommates, and his neighbors right there in his own backyard. Now, living in a community for 40 years means you deepen incredible friendship, but you also deal with some legendary dynamics. Back in their younger days, Jamie and Dawn were great friends, but they also bickered quite a bit. Dawn loved to try and boss Jamie around, and as you can imagine, Jamie was not having any of it. Especially when it comes to football game. Dawn was a diehard of Winnipeg, like the Blue Bombers, fan. And Jamie was proud, devoted Saskatchewan Rough Riders. Donnie has passed on ahead of him, and now that Jamie has joined him, I have a feeling they are already rekindling that massive football rivalry. I'm sure they can't wait for the Labor Day weekend, and I'm certain Jamie is up there right now cheering louder than ever for the Rough Riders. But even when he was busy battling over football, Jamie didn't just go to advocacy programs alone. He brought his community with home. Jamie dragged people out of the house, invited them into the advocacy community, and got them involved right alongside him. Jamie knew our voices are stronger together, and he made sure his friend had a seat at the table too. Once Jamie got going, there was no stopping him. He didn't just look at the barrier and wish it wasn't there. He rolled up his sleeveless his lips and made sure it got fixed. He taught all of us that inclusion isn't a favor you grant to people. It is a basic human right. He loved a good laugh, a bit of mischief, and bring people together after a long day. And regardless of how busy he was or how he was feeling, Jamie never wavered. Even if he wasn't feeling good, Jamie absolutely insisted on going to his meetings. He refused to miss a commitment because he never wanted to disappoint the people who counted on him. Jamie leaves behind a world that is genuinely better, more accessible, and more compassionate because he was in it. The best way we can honor him too is to carry a piece of fire with us. Let's keep pushing boundaries and speaking up for one another, and maybe be just a little bit stubborn when it matters most. Rest in peace, Jamie. Go Riders!
I believe Rick and Kevin are going to come up and speak together. Is that correct? Nope, you're going to come out separately. Okay. Rick, would you like to come forward?
Hi, everyone. Holy mackerel, there's a lot of people here. Wow. My name is Rick Hayward. I'm Jamie's cousin from Winnipeg. Boo if you need to. I spent the better part of 60 years trying to bring Jamie over from the dark side to the Bombers. To no avail. He remained a staunch Rider fan. Yeah. My family lives in Winnipeg, has lived in Winnipeg all my life. We would come out to visit Marsh and Jess and Jamie. The girls were older and out of the house by then. A couple of times of summer, normally coinciding with Bomber Rider matchups, so that, you know, you can imagine what those were like. So I spent quite a bit of time with Jamie, just hanging around. Mom and Dad were doing stuff, Marsh and Jess were doing stuff, and Jamie and I just kind of hung around. And one day, our parents thought it would be a good idea for me to take Jamie for a walk. Okay. Where they figured that was a smart thing to do or not. We were raised, you do what your parents tell you to do, so away we went. Jamie in his chair, me 11 years old behind him. Jamie would have been just coming up 13 around there. So we were kids, but we were physically capable of pulling this off, but not a whole lot more, if that gives you a sense. You know, another 5 or 10 pounds is all it would have taken to dump the thing. And I was terrified. I was petrified. And Jamie was, yeah, let's do this. This is great. So, and it always struck me that probably should have been backwards. Jamie should have been the one who was scared, and I'm the one who's not. So we up and down the street for a while, and then we figured we'll expand out a little bit. We had just gone up and down Grant Road a little. Now we're gonna go on a few more streets. We were out for like 3 hours. Now try to picture that, an 11-year-old and a 13-year-old alone by themselves, strolling the streets of Regina. Parents would be in jail. Right. And we got to, everything was easy until we got to a curb. And I kind of stopped and I said, okay, what do we do here? And he says, well, we go down like this. He tells me how to do it. And bang, that first step, bang, down. You okay? Oh, yeah. Do it again. So we finally mastered the art of curbs. And this was before the day they had the cut curbs. There was no cut curbs. They were these boxy things that dropped you down better part of a foot. And I asked Jamie, I says, what happens if you fall out? He said, well, then you put me back in. Okay. So that was my indoctrination into how to get Jamie around the city. And we would go all over the place. One of our favorite places to go was the Museum of Natural History, if you've ever been there. He loved the dioramas. There was a bison, this huge full-sized bison there, and he would sit in front of that thing for 5-10 minutes just looking at it and taking it in, and would stay there until you wheeled him away and get him somewhere else to see. We went for ice cream. We did all kinds of things that kids do. And Jamie's greatest gift to me was to understand that disabilities are in the eye of the perceiver. That Jamie didn't have the disability. I had the disability of not being able to understand him. And it was a big thing for a 13-year-old kid, in my case, 11-year-old kid, to learn, but that was Jamie. One final story I'll tell you about Jamie. This would have been 1980, maybe 81. I was playing in a rock band and playing from Calgary through to Toronto. And we came into Regina. I can't remember the name of the bar, the Black something or other. It was a great bar for music. It was also a great bar for bikers. And so we get set up, and we got tables set up for Marsh and Jess and Jamie, like right in front of the stage. They, you know. And the rest of the seats were pretty much occupied by bikers. So the music starts and we're playing away, and Jamie is just having, I have never seen him so happy. He was just banging like a drummer. He was all into it. And I come off the stage after the first set, and I can't get within 20 feet of his table because all of the bikers had converged on him. And Marsh and Jess as well. Jamie was much more thrilled with this prospect than Marsh and Jess were. But they gave him one of the best nights that I've ever seen. He was so happy and so thrilled to be, you know, part of the crowd and to be kind of associated with the band and have that extend to him. I've never seen him as happy as I saw in that. I could talk a lot about Jamie. Jamie and I did a bunch of stuff together. We went to Regina Pats games together. We debated football endlessly. And he was my friend. He wasn't just a relative. He was my, you know, honest to God friend, and I miss him. And I hope that he feels all of this, that he has a sense of how loved he was. Thank you very much.
I'd like to invite him forward and share a few stories.
Good afternoon. It is so wonderful to see so many people here. Everything that has been said rings so true. Just feel how genuine it is. My name's Kevin Douglas. I'm Jamie's nephew. This is my sister Patty, sister Kelly, two nieces. You're going to meet the other nephew, Reese, next. We want to talk about Jamie as our uncle, growing up, coming to visit Jamie. I first wanted to say, you know, there's been a lot of laughter and positivity in the room, which is wonderful, and Jamie brought a lot of that to the world. We went as a family, the family who could be here in person, as of a certain time yesterday, we went out on the lake on a boat and to do a toast to Jamie, and we used to go there. He used to go there as a child to Regina Beach, and his parents went there to Regina Beach, and we went there to Regina Beach. And so we took a boat out, and it was a beautiful sunny day, and despite the, you know, the reason for it, we had a great time. And we know that he would have as well, and he would have loved to have seen us having that time, kind of in honor of him, and everybody here, I think, enjoying the experience of remembering Jamie. Every summer, we would drive to Regina from Vancouver. Our mother is the fearless leader. She would point out the bears along the way.
We never saw them.
All of which were tree stumps, by the way. There's a bear! Quick! Oh, no, tree stump. We would be so excited for these trips. We loved coming here. A big part of our excitement was to spend time with Jamie. Jamie's sense of fun, his sense of humor, his lightheartedness. We used to like to crawl up onto his wheelchair, whether he was in it or not. I used to race him around the house, push him around the house, through the dining room, down the hallway, through the kitchen, past the living room, and he would be loving it, he'd be laughing. We used to love to get him laughing. You remember his laugh? And you get to the point of belly laughing where he couldn't breathe, and then finally the breathe in. In our summers in Regina, Jamie was often more like a co-conspirator to some of our antics, whether it was improvising jazz, staying up too late when we're supposed to be sleeping, climbing up into his wheelchair. We were just looking for something fun to do, and he was always there to do it with us. So at that young age, we loved and admired him for all that he was, but he was our uncle. And so as we grew older, he grew more uncle-y. Avuncular. He put up with us maneuvering him in and out of cars. That's how we used to get him around. Reese and I probably brought him up 500, 600, 700, 800 different staircases. Up and down steep hills. We have those in Vancouver. Sometimes with ice. Once a year or so we get ice. Sometimes we pretend to lose control, but he would just laugh, Reese, Kevin! But he knew that we had him. We, true story, only broke his leg once. Trying to get his knee, yeah, it was Reese. Get his knee into the car, and it kind of, you heard this little crack. And we're, Jamie, are you okay? And he's like, it's okay, it was a small one. So, I'm okay, Kev, but keep Reese away from me. Over time, his travels to the West Coast were a group effort. All of us did our part to get him up the stairs, down the stairs, in the car. But we loved having him there. We would often know that we were in for a bit of a long story when we saw his index finger come out. Call one of us over to him, glasses riding low on his nose, looking up like that. He would say, I have something to tell you. About 50% of the time, at least, it was which desserts he wanted. He enjoyed his food, did he not? Knowing him as an adult, as we all became adult, the four of us, we really came to admire his open heart, ready laughter, love of life, generous friendship toward everyone, and devotion to inclusion and advocacy. We always knew of his work and how active he was and how busy he was. My mom came home from one trip and said that she called Jamie to say, "Jamie, I'm here in town." And he said, "Sorry, I'm busy. I have meetings, Mom," or Daphne. But it has been eye-opening, honestly eye-opening and wonderful, just to see in person the depth and breadth of his engagement, how many people he has touched, influenced, and mentored. We see this here today. And his fame extended beyond Regina. One of Patty's colleagues who works in advocacy, she learned not long ago that they cross paths.
Met him at Southland Mall.
Met him at Southland Mall. I think that's been said more than once, right? We have seen for a long time Jamie's fortitude and positivity, his moral strength, his enjoyment of life, his vitality, strength, optimism, brightness, openness to experience. This is a lesson not lost on us. He was up for anything. Going to football games, going to Pat's hockey games, hearing stories about his great nieces and great nephews, some of whom were able to be here, who they also climbed up into his wheelchair and pasted stickers all over it. He was up for any kind of experience, skiing, swimming, going to camp. We heard a gentleman earlier today telling us that he was bringing him skiing one time and they actually lost the rope. So whoosh! But in my mind, I'm thinking he probably loved that, right? Do it again, right, Rick? Last night we were having dinner and chatting with some of the kids in of our generation who could make it, and they had some observations as well. Jesse, one of Patty's boys, just remembered how curious Jamie was about all of the kids, like the kids of our generation, always wanting to know how his great nieces and nephews were doing. And Brennan thought that he was probably the sweetest guy he knew. He would cry sometimes when seeing a family member he hadn't seen in a long time. He would often cry when he left Vancouver to come back to Regina because he would miss us and we would miss him. And Tessa observing how caring he was of everybody, even the pets. So the dogs were climbing up into the wheelchair as well. So thank you, Uncle Jamie. Our words can never really fully express what you meant to us, how much we love you, how grateful that you have been in our life. Thank you.
I have one more Rough Riders thing. When we were in the hospital and we were playing Jamie some music, just, I don't know, for something to do. And then we played the Rough Riders, "Green is the color." And he went, "Right on." And I think that's probably one of the last things he said. Okay.
Well, if Reese can promise no more broken bones, I'd like to invite him to come forward and speak.
I'm a little taller than Kevin, so I have to lift the microphone up. Yeah, it's because I have heels in my shoes, he says. He also accuses me of coloring my hair, dyeing my hair. Not true. Not true. Never used dye once in my life. Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you so much for being here to honor and celebrate, more importantly, Jamie. I want to thank Kevin for setting the table for our family, and you worked very hard on that, clearly, my friend, and to my cousins, all three of them, I love you dearly. Thank you for including me in your thoughts. My name is Reese Harding. Jamie was my uncle, and I'm his oldest nephew. My mother, Patty Harding, who's been mentioned a couple times, is Uncle Jamie's youngest sister, my aunt's sister. Unfortunately, my mother and her husband, his name is Jerry Culver, been married for well over 30 years, I believe, can't be here today because my mother has some health issues that limit her from traveling. She can't be here, so I'm here for her. Mom and Jerry, I know you're online and I know you're watching, and I want you to know from all of us here that we miss you today. We love you, and we know that you're here in spirit to celebrate your brother. In my mother and Jerry's honor, I do want to read a statement that they prepared. They prepared some notes for me to read to everybody here. So this is a statement from, or a reading from my mom and her husband, Jerry. So just bear with me for a minute, please. We were librarians before we retired, and so I have a particular liking for the following image. In one African country, the polite way of saying someone has died is to say their library has burned down. In one's lifetime, our minds and souls collect experiences and memories that are stored and cataloged inside of us. When we die, this collection of library burns down with us. Jamie's library has burned down, but Jamie graciously shared his life experiences with us, and we remember him through this collection of experiences and stories, and we all can feel blessed for his part and being part of his life. Jamie's library may have burned down, but it lives on through all of us now. Some of our memories of our brother include the following. The great speech that he gave at our wedding 25 years ago. We all remember that. Jamie's speech was the hit of the night. 2 years ago, memorable night in our hotel room in Regina, watching a hockey game on TV and sharing pizza with Jamie and his friend JJ. I don't know if you're here, JJ. Or when Jamie would phone us when Daphne was away and start with, "Patty, I have something to talk to you about." And you can reference Kevin's imagery of the pointed finger at this point. That made you take your breath away expecting the worst message. It would usually turn out to be something that was simple, problem solved, and we would all relax knowing that we had averted another mini crisis. When you last visited Jamie in Regina, you realized just how well known he was. People everywhere would greet him by saying, "Hello, Jamie," here and "Hello, Jamie," there. So those are some of the messages that my mom and Jerry wanted to pass along to you all. Last, they say that Jamie lived a productive and fruitful life and contributed greatly to making life better for persons with disabilities. Today, we're here to celebrate his life and his achievements, and we invite you all to share stories about our brother, a life well lived. Now, I'd also like to say a few words for myself, if I could. I'm not just saying this for myself, but I'm saying this for my wife, Adriana, who's here with me. She's known Jamie since she was 17 years old. Our two daughters, who aren't here, their names are Danae and Riel. Their son-in-laws, my son-in-laws and their husbands, Eric and Paul, and our two new grandchildren that just arrived 5 months ago, who we had a trip to Regina planned so that Uncle Jamie could meet the two newest additions to the family. We came up about 3 weeks short of that. He didn't get to meet these lovely young additions to our family. I'm regretful for that, but I'm also happy that he knew they were coming, and he saw them on the phone at the hospital when we visited with him before he passed. He was thrilled to see them. Uncle Jamie was truly a gentleman, a caring man. He was funny, and he was deeply committed to the things that he did. We've heard that today. One thing people haven't yet said that I know about him is that he had a memory like an elephant. He remembered my phone number from when I was 6 years old. That's 55 years ago, and I don't know how he did, but he did. He also, to continue with the Rough Riders analogies here, had an appetite like a Rough Rider linebacker. When he visited our house, Adriana would ask him if he wanted something more, and before the word could get out of his mouth, it was yes. So he was channeling the Rough Rider linebackers for you Rough Rider fans. And I'm a Go Riders guy too, by the way. We're going to miss his laugh, and we're going to miss his quiet whispers in our ears. And his expressions of joy and love when he was around his family. He was and always will be a very special person in our lives. Rest in peace, my dear uncle. I want to share or acknowledge one other person in the room, please, who's been extremely helpful as our family has gone through losing our uncle. And that's my brother, Dagan Harding, who's in the room. I just want to acknowledge you for your help, brother. You were here, first off, as a friend of Uncle Jamie. My brother Dagan knew Uncle Jamie as well, because he's lived in Regina his whole life too. But it was wonderful to see you support my family when I couldn't be here, particularly my dear aunt. And all I have to say to you, brother, is thank you, and I want to acknowledge the strength of the extended family that we have, as well as the extended family in this room. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you all. We do have our choir. It's usually much bigger than this, but because it's summer and people are at the cottages and traveling around, we do have an ensemble to share with you today.
Loving heart is
like to say a few words.
I'm short. Okay. Oh, thank you. Oh my goodness, I made a huge mistake having all those really good speakers go before me. Anyway, they're relatives, so it's okay. Thank you all very much for being here. It's wonderful to see such a turnout for our brother and cousin and uncle and friend. And I can see in the congregation some really dear old friends that we've known each other very closely for practically all our lives. And several others that I've known, like David and Wilma, just feel like family. So it's a big comfort for me that you're here. And I'll try not to be too long. And we do share some of those memories, so I might say something too. But I think most of you know Jamie in the context of either the church or probably in his work or just as a neighbor or at the mall, probably. And I would like to tell you a little bit about the Jamie before he got to be who he got to be. He was very prompt always. He liked to do things quickly as he could. And in terms of being born, he decided he was ready to come 3 months premature. He was born in Minneapolis because we were living down there, my dad's work. And he was born at 2 pounds 14 ounces and 12 inches long. He was just tiny, tiny, tiny little baby. And he had to spend about 6 weeks in an incubator in the hospital until he got to be 5 pounds, and then they would let him go home. So it was hard for my mom to not have him at home, so they would go to the hospital every day to see him, and Patty and I, my sister, would go on the Sundays. But when we got him home, I said to Mom, can I give him his first bottle at home? And she very generously, like this was my first little baby, not first, but little baby that was coming home in such a precarious way. I don't know if I would have shared that, but she said, yeah, of course you can. So she sat me down and handed me this little bundle in a blanket, and I felt, I was ready for the sensation of weight. There wasn't any. I just thought, it's a blanket. You know, he was so tiny, he hardly had any weight to him. But he was perfect. He was a beautiful little baby, beautiful little boy, and he grew up quickly and developed a curiosity about everything. He was a happy little baby, just adorable. And Patty and I, at that time, I was 15 and Patty was 12. So we just fell in love with this little baby. We just take him everywhere with us. And some of my friends would come over, not to visit me, but to visit Jamie. He was just an absolute darling. Smart, developed language skills quite well early on. And it wasn't until he was about 10 months old that the doctors finally sent Mom to a neurologist, and we got the diagnosis that he had cerebral palsy. Other than that, we just thought, because he was so premature, he was taking a long time to catch up. But clearly it wasn't happening, he wasn't catching up. So my mom began her long career of being an advocate, not only for Jamie, but for anybody that had that kind of condition that needed some help. And when he was about 2, I would be babysitting him occasionally. And I had a boyfriend. Does everybody know who the Fonz is? That was my boyfriend. He lived right across the street, and he had a big black motorcycle. And I was kind of not, my mom didn't want me to go on that motorcycle, but I didn't. But one day Roy came over and said, why don't we take Jamie for a bike ride? And I thought, bike. And he meant motorcycle. So we did, and I held him on my knee and sat behind Roy, but he didn't go fast. We just puddled around in the neighborhood, but he would go like, so Jamie, and me too, actually. Yeah. I don't think I ever told my mom that we did that. Anyway, the other thing about Jamie was because we were that age, the house was full of rock and roll all the time, and he loved it, and he just loved anything with a strong beat, and he would sing along, and I think he's probably the only 3-year-old that knew all the Elvis Presley songs by heart. Anyway, where am I at? He went to all kinds of therapies, physiotherapy, occupational, hydrotherapy, play therapy, and then just play. And Patty and I would play word games with him in the car when we'd be going somewhere. At that time, there were no such things as seat belts or car seats. So he sat in between the two of us in the back seat of the car, and we would be going along and we would say, "Can you say elephant?" And he would say, "Elephant." Nice. "Can you say rhinoceros?" And he would say rhinoceros in the same way. And then I said, "How about hippopotamus?" And he laughed so hard it just came, I don't know what it sounded like. It didn't sound like a hippopotamus, but we had so much fun with that. And then he was laughing so hard, I said, "What does that say over there?" We were going by a building. He says, "Coca-Cola." And it was. Yeah, oh, I'll never forget that. So that was while we were all living in Minneapolis. And then it happened that our grandfather died, my mom's dad, and he was a special, special grandfather. And there were 3 more grandparents that lived in Regina, and no other family to help them through their later years. So they decided to move back to Regina from Minneapolis. And Jamie was put into play school and began the therapies and everything that he needed. And then, as has been mentioned, my dad and mom opened the radio station CJME, and it's not all named for himself. C could be Charlie, that's my grandfather. J was Jesse and Jamie, my mom and my brother. M, Marsh, and E, Ellis. But it happened that in Saskatchewan, in that area, the call letters of radio stations are usually CJ or CK, so it was only half egotism. Yeah. So then, oh my goodness sakes, everybody has been so good to say everything I want to say. Anyway, what happened was Jamie just used to go with Mom a lot when he was little. And as he grew in his teen years too, he went along with her to meetings and to social things, as she was very involved in the advocacy field by that time and support, and was very influential in getting things like curb cuts for wheelchairs and residential, well, there's not very much anyway anymore, but residential opportunities for people who wanted to live independently. And she and a group of other parents, I think Donnie's dad, did you go too? No. I wasn't there yet. Oh, you weren't there yet, okay. Well, I think, yeah, Don's dad and, Donnie's dad and my mom and a couple of other parents went to Winnipeg to make an application for a funding to build a Cheshire home in Regina. And they got it. And it's good they went in person, because had they not, they might not have been so lucky. So the first Cheshire home was built on the north side of Stapleford Crescent. Is that what it's called? Yeah. And and these guys, I meant to introduce you. These are the fabulous 4. Jamie and Darren, also known as DJ, and Bruce and David. They're his housemates, and they go back a long way. I think you told me, Bruce, that Jamie used to have you on his knee. He's got a picture of Jamie holding him as a baby. So they've been buddies for a long time, and I know they miss Jamie a lot. But I'm happy that they're all here today. So Jamie continued, going around with Mom when he was here, but she wanted him to finish his schooling. And the schools in Regina then were usually brick buildings, 2 stories, no elevator. So it was hard to get people into a classroom. And I think there was probably the Wascana Rehab Center provided schooling for kids. Whoops. Anyway, so eventually we learned about a place called the Institutes for Achievement of Human Potential. It was in Philadelphia. But they had a school, a residential school, that provided high school as well as all the therapy that the person would need. So he ended up going to New Orleans. I was thinking, couldn't I come with you? It was a wonderful city. And he was there, though, for 4 years, going back and forth on the plane. And sometimes Rick's dad and mom would meet him at the plane and make sure he got from the Winnipeg plane to the Minneapolis plane. And then some of my friends in Minneapolis would meet him at the Minnesota plane and make sure he got on the other plane. So that was 4 years out of his teenage life. And I can't honestly say that it was any great progress in his situation physically. But he sure had a good time at Mardi Gras a few times. Yeah. And so I know that the things that Jamie liked to do, he really did have a very well-rounded life, I think, in Regina. He had lots of fun as well as lots of therapy and working hard with the advocates, with Christina's. You did such a great job of explaining that aspect, which I don't have a lot of knowledge of, just the odd thing. And because he didn't tell me a lot of things. He didn't tell me he was going to Saskatoon. No, I know. And I know why he didn't tell me, because he thought I would say no. And then I would get this. This was the look. Patty and I used to get the look like you mentioned. I would like to talk to you, please. I have something to say. And I said, yikes, what's happening? And it was exactly something about the movie or whatever. But anyway, it was amazing. He was amazing. He did enjoy a full and productive life. And the working with the adversary groups was the best thing he ever could have done. And somebody mentioned the ski trips and the going horseback riding, and he loved to go to Easter Seal Camp. Sailing lessons, he took sailing lessons at Wascana. And I see lots of nodding, because you did too. and again, season's tickets to both the Pats and the Riders. And then after Cheshire was built, eventually they built a second one, which is where these guys live now, and that's where Jamie has lived for like 30 years, something like that. Long time anyway. And then when my dad died after the move, he died, and then within 10 months we lost our mom. And Patty and I were really worried about Jamie, because especially with Mom, there was such a connection there. And we didn't know how Jamie would handle it, and we were all in Vancouver and just didn't know quite how that was going to go. But he came smiling through on his own, and he continued to be involved and built a strong community of friends and colleagues. And I think that is the reason for how well he managed on his own, that he had that strong support from friends, colleagues, and the community. And right now, we're going to be listening to Jamie, and he can tell you something in his own words. So there's a clip that's going to play. I hope you can hear the video.
That is strong, and you have got to go by yourself and just, learn how to express your thoughts to the right parties that meet at times.
Yeah.
Oh, the ending, yeah. The end is a little bit more.
It has to be the power in you that is strong. And you have got to go by yourself and just, learn how to express your thoughts to the right parties that be at times. And, just do not let anyone tell you that it cannot be done, because we all know that it can be.
Oh, boy. I don't know who found that clip. Did you find that, Tess? Yeah, somebody, who sent it, do you know? Anyway, whoever did, thank you.
So our staffing team was looking into Jamie's memories, and I was the one that found a short video clip, and the rest of the staff on our team found the long video clip. So
Oh, good.
we added it, and that's where Jamie's voice lives on.
Oh, that's fabulous. Thank you for that. So eventually it happened that he was beginning to have health problems. And, just things that bother a lot of people, like sleep apnea, and he had asthma, some breathing difficulties from that, and some pre-diabetic problems, and a bout of colon cancer. He went through surgery and radiation and follow-up from that a couple of years ago now. And he got a call from the doctors at 1.5 years after having serious colon cancer surgery, that 1.5 years after the surgery, he was completely cancer-free. So that was a real blessing. We were thankful for that. About a lot of things about Jamie amazed us. We couldn't believe what would come out of him. We'd say, Jamie, Patty and I would look at each other and say, did you hear what he said? It was amazing. We were amazed, and we were surprised at the depth that he displayed of the understanding of life generally. But now we're learning of more of the things that he's done. It was wonderful to hear all of you talking today. Your good memories and funny memories, but also about how he conducted himself in the big world. And I had one occasion to see I had him on the plane with me, and I was bringing him back from Vancouver, and we were sitting in 3 seats, and he was in the middle, and I was in the window. And there was a young man, very well-dressed, looked prosperous young man, sitting in the aisle seat. And he was so annoyed that Jamie was sitting beside him. Because Jamie, how his arms would go, and he probably had his arm over there. But anyway, this man leaned forward past Jamie and said to me, he shouldn't be sitting here. And Jamie said, you can talk to me. I think the guy didn't know what to do. I said, well, why don't you ask if you can move? Well, they should move him. I said, you wouldn't want that. It takes 40 minutes. But that was the only time I saw anybody be that bald-faced rude to him. And he handled it like a pro. So, anyway, there's more. I could go on and on. He's just been a marvelous brother, a wonderful brother, and always, like somebody said, stubborn. Oh yes, he could be stubborn. And then we would get the look, you know, if he didn't like what our answer was. But there's one more thing I'd like to share, which is a very serendipitous thing. Is that a word? A serendipitous? Has something that wasn't planned at all. And it just happened when we were trying to decide when to come here. And weekends were kind of hard, but we wanted to do the whole thing in the summertime in Regina, in this church, which was very important to Jamie. So we were trying to find a date that would work. And I said, well, we don't have to do it on the weekend. How about a Monday? How about Monday the 17th? And everybody checked around and said, oh yeah, that would be fine. And then I heard somebody, I think it might be you, Tess, say, the 17th is Granny's birthday. My mom, his birthday is today. So I said, well, that's perfect. I can't imagine a better day to celebrate his life than on our mother's birthday. So happy birthday, Mom. I have the sense that she knows. So I just want to say to Jamie, so here we are at this moment, Jamie. We are not wanting to say goodbye. We just want you to know that your family is so thankful for you in our lives to love and to treasure. You will be remembered for so many things, for your kindness and your joyful laugh, your sense of fairness and respect, your humor, your strength and perseverance, otherwise known as stubbornness, but mostly for your great loving heart and your beautiful soul, Jamie. You will never be forgotten. You will be forever and ever in our hearts, and then some, as my daughter says. Here's what I want for you, Jamie. Just sail on, my dear one. Run, play, leap, jump, dance. And just whenever you find Mom, tell her happy birthday from all of us. We love you both. Thank you.
I'm going to cut my words just a little bit short, but there were a few things that I really wanted to share with you. One is a message that I was given from Jamie's friend, Darren. Jamie invited Darren to this church a few years ago, and he's been a faithful companion to Jamie and a faithful member of this congregation ever since. And we are so glad that he's here. He, being stubborn, you know, these friends have similar occasions, absolutely insistent that we plant a plant outside in Jamie's honor. So as you're leaving today, if you go out that door, you may see that there is a small little astilbe plant that will be blooming for years and years to come. And also, I just want to mention the words that Darren wanted to share. I am sorry that Jamie has died. He has been my friend all my life. I wish he was here with us so that he could see how many friends that he made in his life. Thank you for those words, Darren. Please join me in prayer. Holy God, through the letter writer and church founder, Paul, you remind us that we are all given the gifts of hope, faith, and love. That of these three gifts, the greatest is love. But through Jamie's life, we need to remember that sometimes we need to see each other not for what we can't do, but for what we can. That we are all given diverse gifts to share with the world, all in our own way, all blessed, all from you. And so we paraphrase Paul's words. If I can speak with a loud, clear voice, but don't share words of kindness and justice, I am a clanging cymbal. If I live a life of ease and comfort, but refuse to help others find fulfillment, I am ruled by selfishness. If I can stand straight and tall, but don't stand up for others, I stand for nothing. If I can dance as if skipping through the clouds, but fail to recognize the way others dance through their own lives, I have missed the music of creation. We thank you, God, for the gift of Jamie, what he brought, what he taught us, the laughs that we shared, and the experiences that we still hold. May we take his life as a legacy to teach us and to move us through our own lives, making sure to make room for others, knowing that in your creation, diversity is not only a gift, it is absolutely mandatory. We thank you for Jamie's life and all that he brought. Amen. Our closing hymn today is How Great Thou Art. blessings of God, we are given life. And through the miracles of Christ, we are given new life with you, our God. May Jamie dwell within your realm forevermore. And may all of you go from this place listening more closely to the music of creation. May you find your own way to dance within it. And may God bless you with the courage and curiosity to honor the dance that God gives each one of us. Amen. And we're going to sing Lord of the Dance as we lead the family out.
I am the Lord of the dance.
cheer.